Eddie Hearn.
Steve, I'm worrying about you because you've got a lot of people working for you now, you know, and that's a sign that you're becoming very successful.
Have you checked the views, Eddie?
I know.
Million your interviews this last few weeks.
But you know why? Because I'm a fucking star. That's why.
Right.
So, you know.
Bit of a huddle, so can I just 3 random questions?
You don't want a huddle. In fact, I can tell you're not happy with the huddle because you now think you're big time. You want your own time with Boxing UK. So I'm prepared to give me some questions, Boxing UK, because I'm changing your channel.
You're a star, Eddie. Right, we'll start with the obvious one. You and Frank Warren have had a few spats.
I don't talk to Frank Warren anymore because Frank Smith is now taken over. Frank Smith, there's a lot of beef going on at the moment between Frank Warren and Frank Smith, right? Frank Warren said, I saw Eddie Hearn sparring that little fat kid, referring to Frank Smith. Frank Smith, if you watched the interview yesterday, he absolutely owned Frank Warren real bad. Don't know if it was you or someone else. So, really, obviously I'm a level above both of those guys now, but Frank Warren and Frank Smith, they've got the same kind of profile globally, so I think these two should potentially spar for charity or something. I mean, Frank Warren just saw his viewing figures on BT for the Avanesian show. I think it was about 6,000 people watched that Avanesian fight. Absolutely dreadful. So Frank Warren and him, I think it's a good match-up at the moment, and I think this back and forward between them, it's going to grow.
Have you heard of the app What 3 Words?
The what?
There's an app called What 3 Words.
No.
And it's a location app. And Frank Warren's obviously used What 3 Words to describe Frank Smith.
Did he?
What 3 words would you use to describe Frank Warren then?
Like angry, agitated, and like, don't want to be rude. Angry, agitated, and like a bit sad. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to say sad, but like I feel like he needs a cuddle. You know? But I've never met him. But I just feel like,
Will you two ever work together? Because that's the criticism.
Yeah, no problem. Listen, I get on. You know, Francis' son. We've done fights together. I'm sure he don't particularly like me, but I think he's all right. We get on. We've had a beer together, like no problem. But I just feel like someone's got to give him a cuddle. Maybe Frank Smith can give him a cuddle. That's a good thing, Frank. Because Frank Smith looks like he's a great cuddler. I mean, he's quite pulky. Have you seen him lately? As Frank Warren said, I just think maybe we could get a bit of peace between them, get Frank Smith to give Frank Warren a cuddle, and that will relax him, and then we can start actual conversations.
Okay, I know the rest of the guys are going to ask you about the cards. Again, 2 random ones left. 2 big women fights on the card this week.
Yes.
It is actually the speed in which women's boxing's going in the UK, particularly in the last couple of years.
You know, we've been doing this for years. It's nothing different for us to have 2 women's fights on a card. Last time in Nottingham, we had, of course, Sandy Ryan against Farias. We had Terry Harper. 2 great fights. Bridges against Roman will be an absolute brilliant fight. Sky Nicholson is one of the top young fighters coming through. Bet Connolly's always, in great fights. It's just, I don't feel, I'm not having a go at you for talking about it, but I just feel we're in a position now where, you're going to see it on every show. We're going to have 18,000 people in Madison Square Garden for Taylor Serrano. So it's the norm.
There's actually a follow-up question, Eddie, and it's a topical question. The male to female swimmer.
I saw that.
What would you do if a male to female or female to male trans wanted to fight? Because they always say boxing's the one sport where something would have to be done.
I mean, it's a very topical, controversial debate that has so many different, it's a tough one. But basically, what I'm saying is my feeling is that certainly in a sport like boxing, you're not talking about swimming. You're talking about boxing, and it's never really come into the fore. But of course, it would be a very, very serious conversation that would need to be had because of the dangers involved in just that. So maybe one for another time.
Eddie, I'll let the rest of the lads crack on.
Cheers, mate.
Eddie, Martinez says the loser.
Kiko
Martinez says the loser of this fight. He said to his family he's done. He thinks Warrington's done if he loses. What do you think?
I agree, and I think Josh. Not saying Josh is nervous about the fight, because I don't think he is, but I think he's nervous about the ramifications, because Josh Warrington only really wants to perform at world level. If he loses this fight, it's a long way back to get another shot. So I think he's put the pressure on himself, and I think that's given him a great camp, because I think he looks in tremendous shape, and I think he really wants it. And I think if he doesn't win, I think his career's over. And I think that if Josh Warrington, if Kiko Martinez doesn't win, I think his career's over as well. I've been saying that a lot lately about fights. Like I said it about Ryder Jacobs as well. And it depends. I'm not saying they couldn't have other fights, but where they want to be competing, I think all of a sudden that wouldn't be possible anymore.
If Josh wins the massive fight against Lee Wood that people think is going to happen, is there going to be a difficulty deciding where that goes if he wins? City Ground or Ellen Road?
I mean, I've promised Lee Wood a fight at the City Ground next, and he deserves it. You know, Josh can fill up Ellen Road. Josh can also take 25,000 to Nottingham for that fight as well. So I think Josh always wanted a big American fight and a big unification fight. Now, if he wins on Saturday, that becomes a reality as well. But this young man called Lee Wood, who's just ripped up the script, is now in the mix. So I think when you look at Josh's potential through victory, you look at the Lee Wood fight, you look at the Navarrete unification, you look at the Leo Santa Cruz unification as well. He's just got to win on Saturday, and if he does, all of those fights come back into the mix.
I just asked you about Anthony Joshua, Mike Rockett report last night that Usyk's crossed the border into Poland to start training camp. Is that correct?
I don't know. I do know that the fight is now planned to take place in June, as we originally hoped. I had confirmation from Alex Krasuk that they'll be starting training camp soon, which is great news for us, great news for the division, great news for Anthony Joshua. I'll be having further conversations tonight and this weekend. We'll nail down the date, but June will be the date for Usyk against AJ.
Eddie, there's a lot on the line for both guys on Saturday night. Off the back of the controversy over Cattrall-Taylor, what are your thoughts in general terms about the integrity of the sport and the depth within the British Boxing Board of control for the judges and referees? Because everyone at home is a ringside scorer, but what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are it's not really the British Boxing Board of Control, it's boxing in general that throws up bad scorecards. I do shows around the world every week. I see bad scorecards every week. It's nothing controversial in terms of corruption or anything like that. It's just every now and again a judge underperforms, and when you underperform in any position, you have to be held accountable. We've seen that in some respect for the Ian John Lewis decision to be downgraded, if you like. But scoring's subjective, and the one thing that annoys me more than anything is the disparity between some scorecards, right? And what I mean by that is one judge can have it 118, 112 to a fighter, and another judge can have it 118, 112 the other way. How is that possible? Taylor Cattrall was quite a close fight, right? Cattrall won the fight, in my opinion. But you're talking about 2 rounds, 3 rounds, 4 maybe, but how can you get a situation where one person wins the fight by 8 rounds and someone else has the other person winning the fight by 8 rounds? And sometimes people that have been involved in the sport for a long, long time build up sort of subconscious opinions about fighters, about people, about venues, about cities. So you as a judge, you might like a specific type of fighter. You might like someone that is slick and fights off the back foot, or you might like someone that's really aggressive and likes to come forward and bring the action. Do you understand? So really, you want a blank canvas every time. And the problem with people being in the sport for such a long time is they've built up over the years those opinions that not knowingly may affect the way that they score a fight, if that makes sense. And all of a sudden the noise and the atmosphere and someone's thrown a punch, it hasn't quite landed but the place is erupted, So I have no doubt that there is absolutely zero chance of anything untoward taking place. Just sometimes people are getting scorecards wrong, and when they do, they have to be held accountable. That's the key. And I want to see a new flow of officials coming in. I think that's something that commissions and the board have got to work harder to do. There needs to be some kind of system in place. But let's be honest, no one's out there at the moment going, do you know what I want to do for a living? I want to be a boxing judge. Or no young people are saying, that's not true actually, but no young people are saying, I want to go on and do this, because there's no system in place.
So
it's a little bit in commissions, it's a little bit of they won't like me saying this, but it's a little bit of an old boys club, because it always is in governing bodies and commissions, and you have to stop that from taking place. People need to move on, people need to step down, people need to step aside, new talent has to come in, but it's very difficult to get someone involved. People talk about ex-fighters.
Let me just ask you a quick question there then, Eddie. What role have the promoters like yourself and the broadcasters got to play in this? Because to a large extent, you're driving the sport from a financial and a publicity point of view.
In the officials for a fight. Now, what could we do? We could turn around and we say, if you don't change, we're not going to use you as a commission. We don't want to do that. The British Boxing Board of Control are an outstanding commission. In my opinion, the best in the world, with some outstanding referees and some outstanding judges. But all I'm saying is where's the new wave of talent coming, or talent or judging, people with that ability? Because people talk about ex-fighters doing it, but ex-fighters have got their favourites. You imagine, I don't know, Tony Bellew, right, becoming a judge and scoring on a Matchroom card, right? Of course, we got a great relate. It's very difficult for an ex-fighter to do it. So who are coming in? Even if you done it, right? You turn around, you went, I want to be a boxing judge. You may have interviewed a promoter and thought he was a complete arsehole. Might have been me. So all of a sudden, he's with him. It's like these subconscious opinions that can sometimes affect, and it's not corruption. There's a lot that goes into it, but we've got to stay on top of it because it'll drive people away from the sport. Luckily, we had Wood Conlon 2 weeks ago that kind of made everyone realise how great this sport is after a bad week in Scotland. So that's my opinion.
So do we just have to accept then that it's an imperfect sport?
We never accept. We accept that scoring is subjective, but we accept that we always have to keep evolving and improving and finding a way to make sure that fighters get a fair crack of the whip and fighters get justice. Because right then, with a round to go, I started looking at it and thinking, Jesus Christ, Jack Catterall is about to become undisputed world champion. I can't believe it. And he was that moment was taken away from him.
And what sort of moments can we expect on Saturday night?
Drama, pain, war, all of them.
In this weight, the next week, Sandor Martin
Yes.
fighting in Barcelona.
Yeah.
Is the last fight before the world title for Sandor?
I think so. I think we're waiting for that big fight, but I'm so happy that he's coming back to Spain to fight because after beating Mikey Garcia, everyone, that was a massive win for Spanish boxing, and now you've got Kiko Martinez, you've got Sandor Martin, you've got these great fighters from Spain, so it was important for him to have that homecoming, if you like, in Spain. And after this fight, I want to see him fight for a world title.
Let's quick one on the Devin Haney and Josh versus whenever that's going to be anytime soon.
Sorry. I had a long call last night with Bill and Devin Haney. We've had an offer from DAZN. We need to make sure that everything is right within that offer and the deal. We're ready to go. We're ready to take that fight. I don't want to wind the other team up, but we did sort of get it, 24, 48 hours ago, and they're like, right, now you've got it, hurry up. So, oh great, we've been waiting for about 3 months for this fight, and now Lomachenko won't take it. It's over to us, is it? But that's okay. We'll take this fight. The offer is well below what I believe this fight is worth to Devin Haney, but he's a guy that wants legacy and he believes he can win this fight, and if he does, he becomes undisputed world champion. So he's doing it because this is the fight to take.
Yeah, on AJ's change of demeanour recently. He's been going on it on Twitter and whatnot. I mean, have you sensed a difference in him recently?
I just think that he's sort of got to that stage and age where he cares less. I think coming through the system, he was kind of moulded into this ambassador and corporate machine and role model in the sport, which he is. But as he's got older, he cares less about what people think or what he says. So I think you're just seeing, you always had a real AJ, but you're seeing a raw AJ. And I just think he's having fun with it. He enjoyed that, and he's saying, I want to do that more. Not really, I just think he's going, I'm going to start enjoying myself, rather than doing this and doing this and doing this. And I think he's going to enjoy behaving like that, and I think it's going to help his performance as well.
Eddie, we know that sometimes the dream fights just don't get made for whatever reason, but Frank Smith versus Frank Warren, what we're talking, pay-per-view or Friday night on York Bethnal Hall?
I think it's a great fight. I mean, look, there's a lot of beef between those Franks at the moment. Like I said earlier, very similar in terms of profile, those two, and I don't know, it's a 50-50.
Is it pay-per-view? That's a controversial.
Frank's getting on, and Frank Smith isn't very good. So it is a 50-50. co-promotion. I mean, who has probably 60-40 Frank Smith for the split? But love to see it. Love to see it.
Frank said you should fight Thor.
Thor, fuck that. I've got a broken finger from Frank Smith. I'm done. I'm
taking
retiring.
credit for that.
Yeah, he is because I hit him on the elbow. That's it. But shows how tough I am.
Sorry, Eddie, can I ask a lot of one? We've got a big Newcastle
Yeah.
show tomorrow. You've got some Geordie fighters.
Yeah.
Cyrus. And obviously you've got Callum.
Yeah.
Any chance you coming back out of our neck of the woods?
Yeah, I mean, look, we need a big fight up there to headline, but also we have some big stars that could fight in Newcastle anyway. So great talent from the northeast. I think Cyrus is great. I think Callum French is a great talent as well, and hopefully he gets the win tomorrow night.